to the August 28th regular meeting of the Board of Education. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So with that, we will move to agenda item 3, which is a separate mini public hearing within our public action meeting. The district is required to hold a public hearing to adopt the 2025-2026 school safety plan. This plan was posted to our website on July 13 and has been available to the public for review and comments for the required 30 days. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on the 2025-2026 school safety plan? So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. Are there any questions from the board? Are there any questions relating to the plan from the public? If there are no further additional questions, I will now close the hearing. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
May I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. With that, we'll move to item 4, which is the approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the July 8 reorganization meeting and the July 8 regular meeting? So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. With that, we'll move to item 5, which are communications. 3 letters were received, one regarding synthetic turf, one regarding absence limits and calendar changes, and one regarding transportation. And with that, we will move to agenda item 6, the superintendent's report, and none other than Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck, and thank you to the Board of Education for providing me this wonderful opportunity to celebrate the opening of our school year. As the board is aware, today was our superintendent's conference day. Our teachers are all across the district, as well as our support staff, were in their buildings, receiving wonderful welcomes from their own building level administrators. We engaged in a lengthy day of professional development, different opportunities for our teachers to explore various areas. We held orientation for our kindergartners and our incoming freshmen, had the opportunity to travel to most of our school buildings, and really was delighted to see the level of passion and enthusiasm that our team has shown for the return of students on Tuesday. The board had the opportunity to tour facilities yesterday and see some of the highlights of the work that had been done over the summer. Really just the tip of the iceberg due to the extraordinary efforts of our buildings and grounds team, our custodial team, our partners in construction. Our buildings look pristine and ready for our students on Tuesday, and today was a very, very successful day of professional development across the district. At the September 17th meeting, I've asked Mr. O'Keefe and our Director of Facilities, Mr. Cavaliero, to come together and present to the board and community a highlight of all the work that was done over the summer. Something happened in each of our buildings, some of the projects very large, some of them done by outside vendors, some of them done by our own team. So I won't steal the thunder of going through that, but please look forward to it on September 17th. I would also like to thank the board. There are a number of late personnel actions on the agenda this evening, and I appreciate the board's flexibility in including those on the agenda tonight in our activities that took place this week. We had a very large number of teachers attend a very successful new teacher orientation. Thank you very much to Dr. Holtzman and Ms. Hanratz who put the day together, and the support staff that assisted them, as well as all of the faculty meetings today involved all new staff. And it is a wonderful, talented crop of new instructors and building leaders. And we are very, very excited for the start of the school year. We look forward to welcoming our students back on Tuesday.
Thank you, Dr. Bossert. With that, I will turn this portion of the meeting over to Mrs. Chan to give us agenda item 7, policies.
Tonight we have 2 policies for first read. and one policy for first read and adoption. Policy 5100, student attendance. The policy committee has reviewed this policy and made changes to define the term student attendance and include the New York State allotted maximum number of absences for the school year, which is 18, and the interventions and processes schools will employ for addressing students with excessive/chronic absenteeism. Policy 5300, Code of Conduct. This policy was reviewed by the committee and clarification was provided regarding the use of AI or similar platforms for writing, coding, research, or image generation, which is prohibited without the explicit direction or approval of the classroom teacher. May I have a motion to accept Agenda Item 7A, Policies 5100 and 5300 for a first read and to be added to the September 17th agenda for second read and possible adoption?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Agenda Item 7B, First Read and Adoption. Policy 5606, Voter Pre-Registration and Registration for Students. This policy was reviewed and redlined to provide a procedure for 12th grade social studies students who wish to pre-register to vote in Nassau County. There are no changes to the other aspects of the policy. May I have a motion to accept Agenda Item 7B for a first read and possible adoption?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion? I'm sorry, I missed that. No discussion. 5-0.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Chan. With that, we will move to Agenda Item 8, which are Board and Administrative Affairs. May I have a motion to approve Agenda Item 8A, which is the actual adoption of the 2025-2026 district-wide school safety plan and building level emergency response plans. May I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve Agenda Items 8B and 8C, donations? So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the donations. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 5-0, and thank you again for all who sent in those generous donations. May I have a motion to approve Agenda Item 8D, student teachers and/or observers for the fall 2025 semester? So moved. May I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to accept Agenda Item 8E, which is an amendment to the superintendent's contract?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. With that, we will move to Agenda Item 8F, which are board committee appointments. The Board of Trustees have accepted appointments to their respective committees. May I have a motion to accept Agenda Item 8F?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. Now we will move on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion to accept consent agenda items 9B through 12K? So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. And now at this time, we will move to a...
Thank you, Mr. Talk. As I did advise a number of our new recruits of what was taking place on the personnel agenda tonight, for those watching from home or who will watch this later on our YouTube channel, congratulations, you are officially members of the Great Neck Public School family. Thank you to the board for your support of all the personnel recommendations that were brought forward this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Bossert. With that, we will move to open time. At this time, if you have filled out a yellow card and handed it to our district clerk, Ms. Malazi, sitting over there at the end of the table over there, I will ask that you come to the podium when your name is called. Please note you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and comments regarding individual personnel or students will not be entertained. I actually have a few statements to make, or a statement to make before we get to open time, so if you'll please indulge me. We understand that the transportation changes that have been announced in the last few weeks have been causing some concerns, and we wanted to thank the residents who've shared feedback with the board and administration regarding these recent modifications to our transportation services. Please know that these informed recommendations have been made in response to our own internal reviews, as well as careful ongoing audits being performed by third parties. We have made these modifications with the following goals in mind. First, maintain transportation options for as many students, both public and private, as possible without violating New York State regulations, statutes, or laws. Second, maintain student safety while minimizing parent inconvenience to all extents possible. Third, maximize efficiencies of our routes to improve travel times for our students. And fourth, create greater consistency between the use of our large and small buses. We recognize these changes may cause inconvenience for some families. All of us up here are parents and know exactly what it's like to put our children through the bus system. And we apologize for any hardships that may develop outside of our control or authority. The Board of Education and District Administration pledge to minimize disruption to all extents possible and remain within the legal limits to best serve our community. And to this point, tonight, the Board of Education received legal advice relating to the possibility of offering our community a referendum so that our district may collectively decide which transportation services it desires. We intend to continue pursuing this option, as well as any others which may present themselves. Lastly, I'd just like to say the beginning of each school year brings with it some challenges as routines are reestablished, and we appreciate your partnership and patience as we navigate the first few weeks of school using the revised routing system that has been created. Rest assured that the Transportation Department will address any and all concerns on a case-by-case basis, as we have always done successfully in the past. And with that, we will start opening up for speakers. Forgive me if I mispronounce any names. I'm trying my best. Judith Sadian? Yes, please. Thank you.
I pay enough school taxes that I assumed busing is included, courtesy busing. I will be allowed at the end of the day, like in October. I don't mean right away. I understand there's a system that goes through to make sure the buses have room, whatever. But to have that option totally gone, for me to lose 2.5 hours of work a week, not being able to provide for my kids is not fair. And then because if I have to work that 2.5 hours, I have to get a babysitter. You're gonna pay the babysitter? No, I am. That's not fair. That 30-minute gap from 3 that I leave work, I get home right when the bus comes at 3:38 in the afternoon. I sometimes miss the bus. I have to go back to the school and get the kids. Work runs late. I get it. But that 30 minutes I have as a courtesy, I say thank you. The laws that are made in New York that were made for this, that you have to be a certain distance, they were probably made in the 1970s, 80s, when there was only one adult working in the family. Today's time is a 2 working family income. No, and I'm a single mother. So I only have one, me, myself, and I to lean on. That's not fair for the working moms, dads, single parents, divorced parents, widows, whoever they are. They depend on the courtesy busing to make sure their kids get home safe. My kids are in 5th grade and 1st grade. I can't tell them to walk home. God forbid knows what could happen in that one block. That bus is a safety net for the moms and the dads. please reconsider putting back the courtesy busing. That's all I ask. I pay enough school taxes that I should get that one thing that makes me feel comfortable sending my kids to school and making sure they come home in the afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, Emmanuel Hadji. I apologize.
Yeah, so I'm a resident of Great Neck. I have kids in private school. I don't know all the details of this whole debate going on regarding the school buses. The first thing that comes into my head was the thought process taking place on regarding the security ramifications of putting Jewish students, I specifically say Jewish students because like it or not, in the time we're living, there's a threat of having Jewish students spread throughout all of Great Neck on every side, on spots within all of Great Neck, or the other thought process of having them in one area. Was that considered? Were security organizations spoken to? Were Jewish organizations spoken to? Like if you come to my shul, there's security throughout. There's a security guard. The schools themselves have security guards, gates, systems there. So that link between the parent's house and the school, you're going to keep that unsecured in a way. Is there anything in response to that?
No, this is not meant to be an interactive process. We're here really to listen to what community members have to say.
Okay, and then how are we going to get the response back to it?
Typically, open time with the Board of Education is for the board to hear from residents and then give directive to the administration on how they would like us to respond to concerns raised.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Etan Rabnow.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. We know you guys have a hard job over here, and I never thought I'd be at a board meeting, especially at last week of summer before Labor Day. But I know you guys have laws, and you need to obviously be efficient because you have a whole community to take care of. I didn't even want to touch upon what Emmanuel said, Mr. Haikhat, the prior person, but honestly, we see people in Manhattan all over. They see us wearing kippah, and they walk out of elevators. So that's a big concern, because our kids, especially in the private schools, they wear these kippahs, they're standing on corners, and we're not living in as friendly of a world as we were living 15, 20 years ago. Additionally, I mean, obviously we all have, whether it's single mom or two parents, whatever it is, that morning is hectic in everyone's house, you know. More than anything, I'm worried about safety. I can speak for my block. I live on a nice block, private block, whatever you want to call it. I'm in Kings Point, so I have a lot of privacy. And where they're proposing picking us up, I can imagine how it gets exaggerated for everyone else, because we live in a very private location. So more than anything, I think safety is a huge concern. For example, I know camps in the summer, also sometimes they pick you up at corners, but every bus has a counselor or somebody on there to watch their kids. So when you combine these two things, their kippahs, their representation, we're not living in this friendly world. And then secondly, convenience, but that's not really so much of my concern. It's just, I think more than anything, safety is the concern. So I don't know how you plan to address that. We don't want to make you guys difficult, your life difficult. We guys know you have to run a huge community. I think it's important. I honestly thought there'd be more people here. to voice the concern, just because, again, forget the inconvenience factor. There's a huge safety factor, because it's not like, you know, anyone's going to be chaperoning them on and off the bus and on and off the corners. So, again, I know you probably have a lot in your calculation, but I don't think there's anything more important than safety. And if you take these two things into account, the fact that, you know, the world we're living in, and, you know, I'm not sure you're going to have counselors on the bus. If you are, that might alleviate a lot of the concerns. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to alleviate the convenience. But either way, I know you guys have to make tough decisions. So I would say, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. If you could strongly reconsider, please letting the bus coming to pick them up in front, I think that would assuage a lot of our concerns. And, you know, hopefully, you know, you guys could figure that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalie Babian?
Hi, good evening. How are you? First, I'd like to thank you. By your expressions, I can see that you're earnestly interested in listening to our concerns and addressing them and hopefully accommodating them. I'm very appreciative for that alone. I'm here to address the issue of proximity. Those who live too close to the school are denied busing. As Ms. Sadian expressed, she would like courtesy busing reinstated, but tonight I'm here for something even bigger, even better. I'm looking for a proposition to get rid of the mileage limitation. So first, before I continue, I'd like to know if whether or not the board is intending to create such a proposition. I just want to know where to take it from here, because I don't know if it's, because they were telling me that that it was something you were planning, that you're being audited. So I know this is not an interactive session, but I'm just not really sure. I don't want to continue based on rumors.
Yeah, it's not intended to be a dialogue, and thank you for recognizing that. But just to bring clarity to your question, the statement that Mr. Tak read prior to open time beginning indicated that the board sought counsel from their attorney that's here this evening about the proposition you're referencing. And that is a continued pursuit that the board intends to take of learning all the necessary steps it takes to have a voter referendum regarding those limits.
Okay, so obviously I don't need to mention, the board knows this already. The state statute explicitly states that the district has discretion to change those mileage limitations upon voter approval. So tonight I'm here to ask for that. And I'm so grateful that it is within your discretion, because that means, as I can see, you're interested to do something, and since you have the authority, you can, so that gives me some sort of relief. Prior years, I was given courtesy busing, which I understand. I'm not by the way, before I continue again, I'm not sure what the district is being audited for by the state, but a big point that I realized today is that if this proposition is made, this could be a free ticket for the district to show the state that you are actually and in fact attempting to create a law by which the district could comply clearly with, and it'll be something to show that you're actually trying to create a remedy and rectification. I understand that things may have been done in the past. It may have, I don't know why, it was great, but I see what the district's intention is, and I think that this could be a great step moving forward to show the state compliant and to show the state that we are in fact trying to go with something substantial and tangible. This would mean a lot to the parents. As Mr. President stated, he stated that it's an inconvenience. It's not a mere inconvenience, it's an undue burden, not just on the parents, but on traffic, on the school parking lots. It was so congested and hazardous when I went to go pick up my kids. Cars are trying to get through buses in icy weather. Buses are honking. It was inefficient. It wasn't saving resources. It was depleting resources. People had to work overtime, cross cars and...
Ma'am, your time is up.
Okay. I didn't get to any of the stuff I wanted to get to, but I really hope that you just see my concern and our concern, and I will follow up with an email, God willing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chava Malka?
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm here as a parent with kids on the bus for about 15 years now and have been a student in Great Neck on the bus years ago as well. I wanted to address the concern of the new corner stops. I personally think that it is fantastic and will help get our children to school on time, something that has been a very big issue. I'm hoping that it will be shorter bus rides. I do have one concern, though, that I do think needs to be addressed before we switch to those corner stops, which is the communication that we have with the bus company. I've had multiple times that I've called the bus company when a bus doesn't show up, and if I can get through, I might be told that, oh, the bus is 2 minutes away, or that I missed the bus even though it never showed up, and then they realize that, you know, they need to send a sub when all the other parents start calling and complaining about no bus showing. So I'm just not sure how that would logistically work when we have kids waiting on corners and you can't get through and find out if the buses came, when, are coming, if there's even a driver. On the way back, we've had times where I've called to say my kids, you know, school ended 2 hours ago, where are the kids? And they would tell me, oh, it's just traffic, and children would come home with a wildly different story like, oh, we were in an accident and the cops were there. Or the bus driver got called on the radio when we were almost back in Great Neck and told to go pick up another school that didn't have a driver in Queens. Or our bus broke down and we were just sitting on the side of the highway. So when we don't have that communication with the bus company and you can't get through to anyone, and even if you do, you're told inaccurate information, that could create a severe problem waiting on corners, either in the morning or in the afternoon. I would love if that could be worked out, if we had a tracking system first in place so we can know when the bus is coming. That should mitigate a lot of the problems that I think are the base of the concern of the parents. I think a lot of reason parents might, you know, be upset, no, you have to come to my door, is really based on the fact of what they've been experiencing for many years with the bus company. And then on a separate note, I also wanted to bring to attention personally what I've experienced with 2 children that have disabilities and IEPs this past summer. In one case, when we were told that we would have centralized busing for one of the children, which thank God is not happening at this point, I did try calling to say that, you know, my child has a disability and it's actually not safe for her to be walking to a centralized stop. I tried proposing different things. She doesn't have an active IEP because she's a bright student, and I said, what am I supposed to do as a parent with a child with a disability? The runaround that I've been getting and the lack of help that I've been getting was disappointing, to be honest. I don't think that parents with a child with disability shouldn't have who to speak to and to help. And another child that I also had, I found out by word of mouth that there's no mileage limitations when you have a child going to a special ed school who has transportation listed. And when I spoke to
30 seconds.
Okay. When I spoke to transportation, I did mention the child was going to a special ed school, and he's been on a bus with an attendant for the past few years, so transportation knew that. He has that listed on his IEP. Yet I had to go and present that information to you know, get the actual transportation that he was entitled to get and should be getting.
I'm sorry, ma'am, your time is up.
Okay. That was my 2 main concerns, so thank you for your time.
Thank you. Adam Cohen.
Thank you very much. You know, I appreciate speaking here today. This is the first time I've ever spoken at one of these meetings. I respect all of you a lot. I just want to urge you in the strongest possible terms to reverse the decisions you've made regarding the busing. It's just, I understand that there's this issue of the audit. I understand there have not been any findings yet. I can't imagine there's ever going to be an issue with state compliance because we've given people more services than the law allows. I think audits like that are, when you're found not in compliance, I think usually that's because you're not giving the services you need, or there are other problems. In this case, we're doing too good of a job, and we feel like that puts us out of compliance, and so we need to pull back on the services. And I can't stress enough how many people I've heard from, how many other parents I've heard from who just talk about how this is making their lives so much harder unnecessarily. I don't think that the district, from where I stand anyway, I'm not aware the district was in any jeopardy. I'm not aware that the district had anything to really be afraid of. I think that there's a balance between, obviously we were out of compliance all of these years and nothing has happened. I don't know if this is the first audit or not, but nothing has happened. And it just seems like it was unnecessary. And one of the things I've heard today that concerns me a little is this idea that if there's a referendum that doesn't pass, the intention would be next year to reinstate the more severe changes that you had initially contemplated, or even go further than that, not just the centralized location, but some of the things that were talked about in that other email about how beyond this year there might not even be busing to some of these schools, or there might not be busing for some of the students who live within 0.2 of a mile. I just don't see how any of this is necessary. It harms a lot of people. It makes a lot
30
of people,
seconds.
Thank you. It makes a lot of people's lives a lot harder. I would just, and obviously there's going to be, after this meeting, I would expect there would be even more consternation and more fear among the community about what might happen next year, because I feel like we've gotten no comfort. We're not getting comfort here, and I hope that the board can provide that for everybody. And I, again, strongly urge you to reverse the decision, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jessica Baruchim.
Hi. I'm speaking as a mom who sends their kids to a non-public school that's outside of Great Neck. And my concern, like many others, is I don't have childcare in the morning. I have a young baby at home. I'm logistically panicking about how I'm going to handle a bus stop that's not outside my home. And beyond that, more, and so that if they were to do that, if we would at least have GPS tracking granted to all buses, not just ones that are in Great Neck. I work from home. I've had my bus be over 40 minutes late at some days, and it's really no rhyme or rhythm to it. I'm now expected to wait outside for my son for over 40 minutes while I'm working and take along my son. My kids are too little to walk to the corner by themselves. They're 5 and 7 years old. So again, just please urging to reverse the decision to have the centralized bus stop, and at the very least, if they can put in some technology to give parents peace of mind and again save us time if we do have to walk to the bus stop to take them there in the morning and wait for them in the afternoon. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Maya Keneal.
Hello, I'm here to also address the busing situation with the children being picked up at the corners. I currently have 4 different schools, and for some reason, the busing is at the same time on different corners. So there's only one me, and there are 7 children, and I can't split myself in half and be with both children or any child at the same time on different corners, and you can't even see the corners from each side. So that's my first concern. Also, the bus only comes for one child, and that's my children. I'm in a neighborhood that has no other children from the same school, and they are going to be waiting on the corners by themselves, ages 7, 10, 12. Even at that age, they're still nervous. Is the bus coming? Is the bus not coming? And I myself can't know for either. So the option of having what everyone has been saying about time or just, keeping us in the loop of where the bus is located and stuff like that would really help. But also, I'm not even sure how in my neighborhood in Saddle Rock, you have to come in and come out. There's no other way. And all the streets are pull-through streets. There's no dead ends. So it didn't make sense that my kids are on a corner stop when anyway you have to pass my house in order to get to the other street to leave Saddle Rock. So I understand the corners for people that live on dead ends and where it's dangerous and a bus backing up is severely dangerous. But when your streets are already streets that you have to go through anyway, if they can rethink and maybe put those kids at their houses, at the bus stop at the houses, it would greatly be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica Hakimian.
Hi, thank you for giving us the time to speak. So my concern is basically similar to all the parents that were here tonight. Few concerns regarding the corner bus stops, the mileage limits, and also the GPS tracking. I myself, I'm a single mom of 5 children, and all my 5 kids are in different schools, different pickups. I can't split myself into 5. And the corner stop is literally 2 houses down, and each child is the only child that is on that pickup stop. And the bus will be passing by my house anyways, so it does seem pointless to me to have my children out of my range of vision, waiting alone on a bus stop because I can't leave my other children to wait with my other kids at the stop. And like other parents have mentioned, the busing is not on time, and we don't have a way to track our buses. So we don't know if the bus is coming on time or not. So to wait 15 minutes before the stop, the pickup time, and then wait an extra 15 minutes if it's delayed is not practical, it's not safe, it's unrealistic. Our children will probably not end up being to school on time, and that means a lot of us will end up driving our children to school, and that's going to create a lot of traffic and a lot of chaos in Great Neck, and we already have enough traffic as it is. I also have a child who's under the limit for busing, so I can't drive him to school because I have other children at home who will be waiting for their bus. So I don't know how that's supposed to happen. And also the tracking. We would like to know like where our children are when they're if the bus is coming on time, if it's delayed, and once they're on the bus, where is the bus? How far is it? Even coming home sometimes, the bus is delayed. We should know where our children are when they're on the bus, especially if there's no other adult with them. So if you can please consider all these things, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Gina George.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My child, who has a disability, lost transportation to school without any notice from the school or transportation department. I understand that policies change over time, but my question is, why weren't parents notified ahead of time to accommodate that change? My 5-year-old, who has 2 working parents, his only option right now is to cross Lakeville Road, walk 8 minutes, and as we all know, Lakeville Road is a very busy road. I don't feel comfortable with him crossing. He does have a disability, and I don't think that this was a fair decision. So every school leader who's addressed this situation keeps talking about inconvenience. This is not about inconvenience. This is about getting children to school safely. The school district motto is where discovery leads to greatness. How is a school district going to deliver this motto if we can't get our children to school safely? I urge you to please reverse your decisions regarding transportation, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Negama Barkorder.
Hello, thank you for your time. I'm here today also to address the corner stops, which has caused so much anxiety and it was so like last minute. We have a bunch of kids at different times catching the bus. It just becomes almost impossible, especially as a working mom. I have to be at work with patients. Like, when do I stay at the bus stop for which kid? How long do I stay? They don't have the phone. They're small. How am I supposed to know, did the bus come? Are they picked up? Are they not picked up? I have a 6-year-old. There's like so much things that like have to take into consideration. And not to have to know that there's a bus there to know, okay, they're gonna get on the bus, they're gonna get off the bus safely. Safety is the main thing. And to think that's gonna be taken away, it causes so much anxiety for all parents, I think. Because it's not just one or two. There's one that's gonna get picked up at 7. There's one that's gonna get picked up at 8. And how are we supposed to, divide ourselves to those children? Because it's really difficult. It's not, I know you guys feel bad, but feeling bad is just, I feel like it's just not enough. Something has to be done, and it just has to be back to door, because that's the safety for everyone. I will really appreciate if you take that into consideration, because it's a really big problem, and it can cause a lot of issues, more than one. Having the kids cross the street or go by themselves, a 6-year-old to go by herself into a corner, New York gets very cold, gets very dark very quickly in the winter. How long can they stay there in the snow, in the rain, it's not like we were living in California in the summer months that it's okay. It gets very scary situation for the parents, and the utmost, I'm sure, for you is safety, as it is, but there's no logic in safety in a corner stop. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Megan Gohari.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing our concerns. Tonight, I'm also a mother that lost busing because of the mileage restraints. We've asked neighboring towns such as Roslyn, Jericho, and Syosset, and we've heard that and learned that they have no mileage minimum for at least elementary school kids and some for all the grades. We don't want to be the ones to follow their examples. We want Great Neck to be an example to be followed by other communities as well. They get busing regardless of the distance. Again, it's a safety concern. I have a 6-year-old child that has to cross Middle Neck Road on Old Mill Road, where it's a big intersection. Even though if the distance is short, it puts kids at risk for traffic, anxiety about crossing streets. My daughter cried tonight about thinking that she'll have to walk to school and cross the street. I'm not home. I leave early in the morning as a physician, and I'm taking care of patients, but I don't have my bus district taking care of my kids. I would appreciate some more professionalism coming from the bus district. We've made phone calls. All we hear is about state inspectors and audits, not sharing, productive information as how we could come to a resolution in this situation at hand. And I really hope you reconsider the mileage distance and give it to help our kids with their safety.
Thank you. Michelle Kepler.
Hello, thank you for your time. I appreciate the district's efforts to create more efficient bus routes this year. I understand the reasoning behind consolidating stops and adjusting routes. However, I want to share the very real challenges and stress this caused for my family last year, and why I'm concerned about repeating those experiences. On multiple occasions, my son waited up to 45 minutes to an hour at his school waiting for the bus, without any communication about delays or changes. The only way I could keep track of him was by hiding an Apple Watch in his backpack. Mind you, it's not allowed to have that in school. This situation left me anxious as I often had no idea where he was or who his driver would be that day because he had multiple substitutes and they couldn't find a permanent driver. Additionally, requiring him to be dropped off at the corner, and this year, both of my kids, I have a kindergartner this year, is not safe and it's not a reasonable option for me. The intersection is very dangerous and asking my young children to cross or wait there unnecessarily increases the risk. I also have a baby at home, which makes leaving the house for pickup difficult and unsafe. If the bus is already passing directly in front of my home, it does not make sense for my son to be required to walk to the corner, especially when there are no other children at that same bus stop. While the route efficiency may look logical on paper, in practice it comes at the expense of our student safety, our parental peace of mind, and family logistics. For working parents like myself, the lack of predictability last year, it meant lost work time and just a lot of stress trying to figure out where my children were. The trade-off between theoretical efficiency and real-life impact feels really, really unbalanced, particularly for younger students. I respectfully ask that the board reconsider stop placements in cases like ours.
30 seconds.
Where it would meaningfully disrupt efficiency, but would significantly improve safety and reduce stress for all the families here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It looks like Sailor Hajimar.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time. My name is Salah Harunian. I'm a parent from Great Neck, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight about issues that affect the community, as well as my family and many others, which is the school transportation. I want to raise several concerns regarding the busing services which are currently being provided, with the particular emphasis on safety, as you've heard tonight. First and foremost, anyone and everyone knows there's a very huge rise in anti-Semitism across the country. We have kids standing on corners with their, as other people said, with yarmulkes, with black hats, wearing their skirts, so on and so forth, and they are vulnerable to many attacks just by being on monitored corners. Other than that, there's a lot of traffic safety issues. We've seen many times where even self-driving cars like Teslas have crashed into corners, causing damages into our street signs, into trees, etc. Secondly, the subcontractor that you guys currently have, which is Veterans Transportation / We Transport, has proven to be extremely unreliable. We've had many reports, as you've heard tonight, where we don't know where our kids are, bus has picked up late, dropped off late, car accidents, there was a death a couple of years ago. They're extremely unreliable. We have no idea what's going on with them. We don't know where our kids are, and we don't know when they're going to get home. It would be a great idea to try to break up the transportation into multiple different companies. I understand they are the only ones that wanted to take the job because it's a huge job. Maybe we break off the busing into different sections, different districts itself, sub it out to multiple different bus companies, and that could alleviate some of the problems that we have. Third, we're in an era of technology. My house is controlled by my phone. If my kids come home and I'm not there, I could easily open the door with my phone. They ring the doorbell, I'll see who they are. We have so much available to us. The fact that the buses have no tracking for our kids is just unacceptable. We understand that the Great Neck School District has trackers for their kids, while private schools do not have trackers. That is a very big concern, which is very easy to remedy. On top of all of this, our kids
30 seconds.
Our kids don't get service on days where we have school and the public schools are not in session. For example, my kids have school on Sundays. We have to deal with carpool. And recently, you guys took away Black Friday busing, and this year you also took away busing for December 24th, 26th, and 31st, as well as all other holidays. there are contractors out there that would take the bid and cover those days as well. So we need to look into more options to be able to cover all of us with transportation every day.
I'm sorry, sir, your time is up.
As well as comply with all state law. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Michael Nagari.
Good evening. Thank you so much for hearing me speak, but also for everyone else here as well. Some of the parents who I know personally as good friends of mine. I really just want to pine in on the point, and maybe just to think about it. We're all adults over here, and we live every day with the autonomy of the fact that we have control over what we do. But you have to think about it and remind yourself to think of a perspective of a kid who is 5 years old, 7 years old. I have 2 of my kids are that age, and they don't know what's going on, the confusion of the fact that at any moment a thought comes to their mind and they realize they just want to go cross the street, go wander off because they constantly get thoughts in their mind. This is not just a convenience aspect. This is really, going back to a lot of points here, a safety issue that honestly, I really don't really care what the budgeting speaks for, but when it's a safety issue where, as an example, I live on a road where it has stop signs going on 2 different ways, but not on the other crossway. So at any point, there are cars that just zoom past literally at 50 miles per hour very easily, and God forbid, the point I really want to make here is that it's not a matter of if an accident will occur where a kid will get, God forbid, killed or hurt from cars driving, especially in New York when it gets dark at night. Whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon, it gets 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's dark by 4 months of the year basically. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of how many times it's going to happen that there will be kids that will get severely, if not, the health aspect, the risk of them getting hurt, I think outweighs anything we're discussing here tonight, honestly. That's all I really want to say. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Diana Dilamani.
First, I'd like to say thanks for all the years of service. We really appreciate that we had this service, that we were able to get busing at such a convenient way right in front of our home for all these years. Unfortunately, my busing was taken away from me this year. I really rely on that. And my kids would have to walk about 17 minutes to get to school now. Uphill, downhill, across busy streets, heavy backpacks, blizzards, rain, pour, anything. I would really, really appreciate if you would consider all the different weather and all the stuff that they have to carry, all these streets. They're a little too young to really be so careful when they cross the street. And in addition to that, my younger daughter, she is qualified for busing. She's in a different school. And now there's a corner stop as opposed to right in front of my home. And, in the first few weeks, sometimes it takes 45 minutes to up to 2 hours for the bus to arrive. I can't let her stay there. And there's a big, thick tree blocking me, so I can't see through the window. I can't let her stay inside. So I would really appreciate it if you would reconsider these corner stops, especially if it's only 1 or 2 people on that stop and you're passing their home anyways. Perhaps you can reconsider for the very young kids that are really too young to be standing outside, or for the very busy moms or working moms that can't be outside with their child at that moment. But then thank you again for all the years that you did convenience us with the gift of your wonderful service, and we look forward to you working together with us and making it convenient again and safe for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Abe Kadadian.
I thank everybody for being here tonight to listen to what we had to say. I just wrote a couple of notes down. Obviously, it comes down to savings versus safety. I hope that we could be proactive rather than reactive, that God forbid some major accident happens and then we say, oh, we should have kept things the way they were. The way things are already is great, but it was still issues for us because my kids all go to private school. Half the time, the bus would be 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, 30 minutes late, and it's not that simple to get them to YCQ in Queens, where it would take me north of an hour at best to make it there and back home in the middle of trying to do morning services where we're trying to pray, getting 3 kids ready in addition to the dog that we have now. Also, weather-related issues. If it's snowing outside, I can't let my daughter, walk on their own. I'm going to do what I have to do, go to work late, sit in the car with them until the bus comes. And I'm hoping that already with thousands of kids in Great Neck going to private school, with us paying the taxes that we're paying helps rather than, what's the alternative? If not that we're going to take our kids out of private school and put them in public school, but that itself should hopefully be a huge saving to alleviate some of the costs of keeping things the way, they are. And those are really like my concerns. Again, like my kids are 5, 8, and 10, and I just found out one of them that's going to Magen Ephraim, which we signed up 2 years ago. The school is not ready. It's not open. So the satellite location is Temple Emmanuel. I guess we found out that because we're less than 0.5 miles, we're not going to get bus service, but my best friend, Janelle, who lives on Drury Lane, and I live on Toddington Lane, and the bus is going to be picking up her daughter and my daughter that are going to the same school at the corner of Drury and Toddington. I wrote a very nice long email to Tyrone Kelsey saying, please consider allowing my daughter to get on the bus because the bus is already going to be there picking up her best friend Orly. And I put that in the email with the email that we got from my friend, telling exactly where she's going to be picked up. So that itself will be like a huge, burden off our shoulders, especially because she's only 5. So again, it's not
30 seconds, sir.
I'm done. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Matinide.
Hi, thank you all for taking the time to meet with us tonight. I'm sorry that I walked in late, so I missed a lot of what was said. I had a whole list of points. I don't think it pays to repeat it. I actually want to discuss something that happened that the gentleman brought up about the accident that's waiting to happen, because it actually happened to my daughter this summer when she was going to camp. She was crossing the street on Middle Neck Road at the corner of Middle Neck right in front of Dunkin' Donuts, which is something else that we need to handle on a village and a local roads issue, which I'm working on with the attorneys. But she was hit by a car which was speeding in an area that is a school zone as she was crossing the street. She flew, she was propelled 30 feet into the air, 10 feet over. She had surgery on her collarbone, several pelvic fractures, and a sacral fracture. She's been in a wheelchair for 6 weeks. She has been operated on. She was hospitalized for 10 days. This was an accident that was waiting to happen, and it did happen. So, and I understand that that was not school-related, that was not bus-related, but she was running to get to the bus that was leaving for camp, and there was such a sense of urgency because everyone had to be there on time because the buses were going to leave and the buses were going to leave. So this is the reality that is going to happen in Great Neck now with all these kids running over the place because they have to get to the corner and they have to catch the bus. I'm a Great Neck resident. I grew up in Great Neck my whole life. I went to Lakeville. I went to South Middle, South High. I've lived here on Genevieve Place my whole life, and I chose to raise my family here on Croydon Avenue and be a part of this amazing community. And I understand that the public schools always had corner pickups, and that was a reality, and we had the gift of door-to-door. But to my understanding, the reason that we had door-to-door in the private schools was because of the fact that we were so spread out, and it didn't make sense for our kids to be picked up on corner stops because you weren't picking up a bunch. If they did corners, there was still only 1 or 2 kids. It didn't actually make sense. It seems to be that that's still the reality. It just seems to be that maybe it was easier to do the route, or I don't know what other calculations were made, but that reality hasn't changed. Our homes are very spread out. We're sending to different schools. Our bus stops will still not be congested the way that the public schools are. So I don't know, what are we actually accomplishing other than having tons
30
of
seconds.
Kids, thank you. Tons of kids running around trying to catch that bus. That sense of urgency was what got my daughter hit this summer. So, you know, I know I've been working with the superintendent on how she's going to get to school this upcoming year, and I'm not here for my child. It happens to be that my house is at a corner, and it happens to be that I'm still pretty convenient. But I made the time to come out here tonight because I worry for the safety of the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to make a comment, you fill out the card and give it to the district clerk. Mr. Talk has granted me some flexibility in responding to some of the comments made. And again, open time with the Board of Education is intended to be commentary, not discussion, however. Since so many of you raised the issue of safety, I do want to assure you that the safety, health, and welfare of all students, both public and private, are at the foremost of thought whenever decisions are made in Great Neck Public Schools. A number of you raised individual concerns that I believe can be adequately addressed by our transportation department. So I encourage you to continue to communicate with the department, and there are some changes that can be made in reflection of reviewing of the stops and placements of our students. We use technology, we use lots of software to create routes, to create stops. Sometimes the reality doesn't match the technology. So when parents ask for reviews to be done and live people to go and survey sites and look at where stops are compared to homes, compared to traffic, sometimes changes are made in the best interest of safety and what is best for efficiency as well. There have already been some parents who have reached out to our transportation department, asked for a review. We've had the ability to do that, and changes were made accordingly. We ask for your patience, as Mr. Talk read in his statement prior to commentary. As we work through these things, it would be impossible to address every individual concern before the start of school next week. So we ask for your patience and cooperation and collaboration. But please make your concerns known to our transportation department, and I assure you that they will be reviewed very carefully. And while I cannot promise a change will be made, if it is applicable and appropriate, we are very happy to make accommodations that make sense. The technology piece. The large buses that we contract with our vendor from WE do have a Find My Kid app that goes along with it, which is that GPS tracking that many parents refer to in their commentary. We're very hopeful, and we have implored our transportation partners at WE to provide that same technology to the smaller buses that transport students both to our public schools and to private locations. As soon as that technology is made available through WE, we will of course offer it to our parents. That is not something we are holding back. That is something we agree with you makes sense in the year 2025. So we're very hopeful that we'll be able to share that technology with you soon. As far as references to students with disabilities and IEPs and potential 504 accommodations when students have temporary needs, that is something we take very seriously, and we have a robust pupil personnel service staff that responds to these concerns for both our public and private schools. And I implore you to reach out to the PPS department if there is a student that qualifies for special transportation services due to a disability. That is something that is routine. That is something the Committee for Special Education is accustomed to entertaining, and something that can be provided as appropriate. So a lot of these concerns that were addressed to the board tonight are relevant. They are real. We understand. And it's a partnership between the community and the district to make sure we can satisfy as many of the concerns that were raised tonight as possible. So I thank you for communicating clearly with the board administration tonight, and I appreciate your continued partnership in conversing with the transportation department while conversing with our technology office and our PPS staff. while we can't follow up on an individual basis tonight, we certainly can during the regular school year. So we appreciate your continued collaboration.
You did, I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, so please come forward.
Hello again. Thank you for your time again. This comes back, I'm here now for the Where's My Kid app. It is a horrible app. It freezes out. You have to log back in to find out where the bus is. It doesn't refresh automatically. You have to close the app, put in the school code, the bus number. You have to do everything all over when you want to open the app and use it. It doesn't stay, nothing gets saved. And it's not like real-time bus. When you open your phone at 3:50, and that now it's 4 o'clock, it shows you where the bus is at 3:50. That doesn't help. It has to be more, up-to-date, live. It's 2025. It should be easy to have Wi-Fi on the bus for the tracking to go to an app to tell where the kids are. That's another problem. Every time I open that app when I'm running late, it says it's still in the school. Meanwhile, I get a ring notification, my daughter's at home. How is that possible? It shouldn't be delayed 10, 15 minutes, even 20 minutes. It should be spontaneous at every stop. The bus app should tell us where the kids are. That, as all the other parents say, some parents say stay outside for half an hour, 40 minutes, just to see where the kids are, if the kids are coming home. It shouldn't be like that. The app, it needs major maintenance, major updating to help, that could also help alleviate a lot of stress that the parents will have. Like every time I open that app, I have to put in the school code. I don't know the school code. I have to go to the school chat, ask the chat, what's the code? It takes 10 minutes for someone to respond, what's the school code to get a bus? That's not fair. So that's another concern. If you want something changed, you have to fix 30 other things to make it make sense. So far, nothing makes sense. Sorry, that's my last time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ivan, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Talk and members of the Board of Education. My name is Ivan. I'm a recent graduate of Great Neck South High and an incoming student at Georgetown. Tonight, I want to raise a serious concern, the fairness and efficiency of our student accommodation system. I'll briefly outline the problems, then highlight 3 concrete improvements for the board's consideration. I see 3 major problems. The first is a lack of awareness regarding 504 policies, specifically how families can request accommodations, what students and parents can expect, and how school staff should handle these situations. I've also noticed a lack of training for school staff, many of whom are often unfamiliar with 504 policies and how to implement them fairly and effectively. Finally, I see a fundamentally unfair practice, which penalizes students with educational disabilities who are later granted accommodations by not allowing them to make up work done during the evaluation period. There are viable solutions. I propose 3. First, make policies transparent and easy to find. Post them clearly on the district website, especially for families who may be navigating the accommodations process for the first time. Last I checked, the web page does not clearly outline the process, which creates unnecessary barriers for students and families already facing challenges like language differences and the stigma of seeking help. Second, provide more staff training. All teachers, administrators, counselors, and psychologists should be prepared to implement accommodations correctly. Laws like the Rehabilitation Act cannot be followed if staff aren't equipped. Last, allow students who are later granted 504 accommodations to revisit work completed during the evaluation period. Failing to do so creates an unfair academic disadvantage. These are practical and sound steps that would strengthen the district's commitment to equity. I've prepared a short handout with more details, but the message is simple. Great Neck should be a leader in ensuring accommodations are not just promised, but delivered. Our students deserve no less, especially given our district's espoused commitment to meeting the needs of all students with varying abilities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Emily Shemesh.
Hi, good evening. My name's Emily Shamash. I'm here tonight as a North High parent and strong supporter of our district's outstanding fine and performing arts program. I speak on behalf of myself and the many fine and performing arts families who have been concerned about the recent changes in the program at North High. With the change of the former and elimination of the former theater teacher position, we learned the district hired a part-time English teacher rather than a dedicated experienced drama teacher. This change effectively eliminated the leadership position that historically provided instruction in drama, public speaking, and also leadership through direction of the musical and winter play, mentoring the Thespian Society and junior players, overseeing one-act productions, elevating production values, and offering student guidance and mentorship about opportunities in the field beyond their time on stage. It's important to note that Great Neck residents voted on a budget that assured families that all programming would remain intact and be supported by experienced professional educators. In fact, the district published 25-26 budget highlights explicitly stated it would maintain all existing programs and course offerings. Altering the theater position over the summer months contradicts those assurances and has created deep concern among families. Most importantly, among our students, our children. For our students, theater is not just a place to learn, but a place to belong, to express themselves, and to cultivate their passions. It's not an add-on to education. It is of equal value to all disciplines and academic areas. We do want to thank the administration, especially our brand new principal, Mr. McNamara, for the open conversations we've had and for the assurances we've been given so far. The musical will continue and the junior players will remain intact. We're really happy and satisfied about that. These commitments are really appreciated. However, the absence of a dedicated theater teacher and leader who oversees the performing arts program as a whole continues to cause us concern. Dividing the many multifaceted responsibilities of the position addresses the issue only temporarily. In closing, we urge the district to view the performing arts position as instrumental to the quality and consistency of the program. We ask you to consider our theater program at North High holistically, to ensure we have a robust, meaningful, and competitive program, one that goes beyond meeting state requirements and one that reflects the goals and objectives
30 seconds.
of our district, reaching far beyond the minimum. Moving forward, we hope the district will continue to work with us, the families, the students, to ensure the performing arts at North High remain strong, vibrant, consistent with the values and commitments of this community under an experienced theater educator who can dedicate the time and resources that our students need. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lindsay Stoller. I'm a rising junior at North High. I'm here tonight because I want you to know how important attending the Long Island High School of the Arts is to me. Unfortunately, Great Neck Public Schools currently does not permit students the option to attend LISA, even though it does allow students to attend many other BOCES programs. I'm here to ask you to reconsider this position. First of all, I want to thank North Middle and North High for helping me get into theater in the first place. Before I auditioned for North Middle's Newsies in 2023, I didn't really know who I was, and I had a hard time finding people I connected with. I made my first real friends in Great Neck through Newsies, and we've remained close ever since. When I participated in the Roger Rees Awards this year, I realized how many talented individuals there are in the world and the kind of specialized training I need to succeed in the arts. I also find that I thrived in an environment where my peers are as passionate as I am. As a student in LISA's half-day program, I would get to continue school at North, where I'm very happy, while also getting to take my theater training to the next level. Being at LISA, surrounded by other young performers who also dream of a career in theater as I do, would push me to be the best version of myself. Its instructors are outstanding professionals, Tony winners, Grammy nominees, and with industry connections who help students to achieve their best in its highly competitive industry. LISA also has partnerships with institutions and conservatories such as the American Ballet Theater and Norwalk Conservatory in Connecticut, and it has events like Broadway Supports LISA to help boost their students' reputations in the industry. LISA also holds special auditions for top-performing arts colleges that are exclusive to its students. While I train in dance, voice, and acting on a regular basis outside of school, I don't feel this is enough if I am to compete with students who benefit from advantages of programs like LISA. I also know that many families cannot afford private lessons and programs, leaving their kids who might dream of being a professional artist at a huge disadvantage. For many families, LISA is their best opportunity to attain a higher level of arts experience. I strongly urge you to take this into consideration when making decisions involving this program. Finally, I believe that students should be able to make their own decisions about the sacrifices they would need to make to attend LISA. Many students like me have professional aspirations that our school isn't able to support, and I believe that it is our right to be able to access a public school program that exists for all Long Island students. Again, thank you for your time and consideration, and I just want to thank all the teachers who have been involved in my theater journey. I would really not be here without them, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Hyman.
I'm going to keep with the theater trend. I'm also a Great Neck North High School parent. I have had one child in there right now as a sophomore and one who graduated 2 years ago. They're both interested in pursuing entertainment careers behind the scenes, in stage managing, in production, and in directing. My older daughter has had the opportunity in college to be involved with more activities outside of just her studies because she was the stage manager for three years at North High. This allowed her the opportunity when she went to college to immediately get involved in her education and in what her future plans to be. My younger daughter has found her place. Like Lindsay has said, this community has given to the students at North High a place where they feel respected, educated, and connected. While we appreciate that and I did speak to Mr. McNamara yesterday, and I appreciate his commitment, I just hope that he has the support of this board and of the administration to continue to ensure that North High has an excellent theater program, that our children are not just going to a club, but are part of an education program outside of school that they're dedicating their time to. He has already shown his interest in our school and our students. He has spoken with students. He is interested in ensuring that our athletics is an excellent program, that our education is an excellent program, and he is committed, he has told us, to the fine arts program, and we ask that you support him in that commitment.
Thank you.
Mr. Talk has once again provided me some flexibility to add some comments since we had a number of speakers on the same topic. I believe I can speak for the board and the actions they took tonight, and certainly for the administration, by talking about the priority that this board and this district places on allowing students to pursue passions across the board, whether they are athletics, academics, robotics, fine arts, or drama. The actions of the board tonight, the programmatic change referenced earlier was not actually a programmatic change, it was a personnel change. And that personnel change caused us to review how we are staffing the program to support our students in drama and the fine arts at North High. And the actions of the board tonight actually expanded the budget in the areas of staffing for North High School by appointing a director, an assistant director that we have never had, and a full-time choreographer for the upcoming show that we have never had. So I think the actions of the board tonight and the plans and the mindset that are shared between building level administration, Mr. McNamara, and the assistant principals, our assistant superintendent, Dr. Holtzman, who obviously knows the North High program extremely well, and your superintendent of schools, all demonstrate our commitment to making sure the students who want to engage in performing arts at North High have every opportunity to do so in a way that will help them to excel. When we look at some of the distinguished graduates that have come through Great Neck Public Schools, we are astonished by what our teachers and our faculty have been able to help our students to achieve. We have that same goal for our current students and future students. So while you may have some concerns because times of change always bring with it some question, I'm very confident that when we reflect upon the program at the end of the year, we see growth, we see success, and we see customer satisfaction. So please let us know if we're right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bossert. And finally, at least so far, the last card. I wish I could read this. Sharmath Sute. Sorry about that.
Hello. Thank you for your time and listening to what I'm about to say. So I would like to address bullying on the bus. So my bus in particular, as a student at Saddle Rock School, every day there's a bully on the bus, there's something going on, and I'd like to say that I think there should be a monitor on the bus, and not just a random teacher that does not do anything whatsoever, but a teacher that's actually going to do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Since I get to speak to the adults, I also get to speak to one of our students. Young lady, thank you for being brave and coming to the microphone. And I agree with you that bullying on the bus is completely unacceptable. And you make sure, if you have any type of negative experience on the bus, you talk to mom, you talk to your teacher, you talk to Ms. Bradley, talk to Dr. Goldberg, and you make sure it's addressed very, very quickly, because we agree, completely unacceptable.
And thank you all for coming. Oh, actually, I should say we don't have any more cards at this time. Is there anyone else who'd like to bring a card forward and speak? You have to first fill out a card, but yes.
Hi, my name is Daniel Yagubi, and this is my wife, Notion. We were just notified maybe 2 days ago that, I mean, me personally, for my wife, but basically the busing schedule came out, and prior to this, we've been living in Great Neck for about 12 years with busing. We always had a pickup in front of the house. And I apologize, I got here late. I just found out about the meeting, so I ran here. Basically,
our first meeting. This is our first meeting. We never ever came to any meetings.
Basically, I expressed my concerns through email with the Transportation Board. I'm still reviewing everything and looking up the legal basis, but there's a safety concern for us, especially. We have, thank God, we have 6 kids. And it's not easy to get them on the bus, and when they come home, I took pictures and I have videos I could show you guys. as well about the safety concerns that we have. Couple of things are, the buses don't always come on time, so it's not always predictable. And to send your child out and have them wait on Middle Neck Road, which is a high volume traffic area, and recently,
One child. We're not talking about a cluster of group of kids that get together and are together, okay? One child is going on Middle Neck Road at 6:10 a.m. 6:10 a.m. Okay, continue.
so recently someone on Middle Neck Road got severely injured. People don't stop, they don't obey the traffic lights. The people are running red lights, not stopping, going at full speed, driving down. And you want us to send my child, that's 5 years old at this point, almost 6, to walk down on Middle Neck Road by herself at almost like, what time is it?
She's 8.
Sorry, 8.
No,
We have a few children that are using the busing.
Sorry, it's 4 kids, 4 different bus stops, and it's 6 kids in total, 2 sets of twins. I can't do this. I can't. I work full time. I'm also a teacher, you know. I understand what the rules and regulations are, but there was no prior consent either. Like, you can't tell me, hi, we're going down the road now a week before school starts. I don't have enough time to get a person to come take my
30 seconds.
You know, 4 of my kids.
The bottom line is the county is trying to save a couple of dollars now, but you think you're saving money, but in the long run, you're going to pay out more with people getting injured, and this new method is not working out. We have minors, there's safety concerns. You can't expect them, it's pitch dark on the street, and when they come home around, you know, after sunset, it's pitch dark. How do you expect a little child to walk by themselves? Both parents are working, so you guys figure out a solution.
I'm sorry, sir, your time is up.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to board discussion. Is there any board discussion? With that being said, the next regular meeting of the Great Neck Public School Board of Education Great Neck Public School Board of Education is scheduled for Wednesday, September 17th, right back here at 7:30. May I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much.